Sure.
This wave reminds me of a recurring nightmare that I had as a child, that a tidal wave would come up and hit my grandmother's house, and that I would be on the beach, but that I couldn't get any words out at all. And this nightmare happened over and over again, and now after this photograph, I'll probably have it. But it's the frailty of the lake, and we now have had 12-foot surges that have gone on. Do you know about this? Could you talk about it a little bit? Because I don't understand why, but there have been two 12-foot surges that hit Ashtabula. My brother now has a second-floor condo overlooking Lake Erie, and I always say, oh, my brother who had the second-floor condo, because they've lost their entire beach. So my concern is really erosion, and I imagine as you travel in an airplane over the lake, you could see what the effects of erosion are. And we have so much property at risk because of the erosion. And I know, thankfully, good things have happened. Senator Eklund from Geauga County has had a bill passed March 21st or 22nd, and I believe it's Bill 51, but you have to go back a year until the 132nd Congress to see it online. But I'm so glad that at least there are some positive things going on. But another wave just hit Madison Beach Park, which I love. It reminds me of what my grandmother's home was like, the way the trees are there and you look down and there is a beach because they've done erosion control. So I love to go there, but another wave hit that right after they had spent much money to clean up the entire beach. A wave came over and they were left with just plastic and driftwood all over the beach, totally covered. I don't know if they've got it cleaned up yet or not.
Where is that?
Madison Beach Park. It's at the end of 528, and is it Hubbard Road, Jean?
Yes.
Hubbard Road, yes. It's a beautiful beach park because it has big sycamore trees so that at the top you're under shade, but you look down on the beach and they've put in erosion control that wasn't sanctioned by the state. Now when you do erosion control, you have to have a permit from the state so that you do it properly. I forget what it's called. What's the agency called? I can't think. Do you know, Jean? Do you remember what it's called? What is it?
Army Corps of Engineers?
No, it's not the Army Corps of Engineers. It's I know what it is. Yes, it's the Department of Natural Resources, but it's the Coastal Management Group. So there are hopeful things going on. I'm hoping that Senator Eklund's bill is really a good one. And I know there's also been bills about agricultural runoff now too. Do you know about those at all?
I do follow this stuff, but it's pretty confusing.
It is complicated.
And could you explain his bill?
I only know that it's about erosion, and what they need to do is they have to go individually, because there's so many individual ownerships along the lakefront. They have to go individually and decide what is the best course of action for each property. And I've talked to them, and I've talked to every state legislator, local legislator. Sarah LaTourette was very kind to me. She spoke to me for over an hour, well over a year ago, and I didn't realize that at the same time Senator Eklund had this bill, which finally passed in March. So I've been calling the senators in Washington, leaving messages repeatedly. I met with Representative David Joyce. He had a town meeting, and he seemed interested. And then I did get a phone call that he and Senator Eklund were having a joint meeting, but I wasn't able to stay on the phone to listen to it because I had another commitment. So there is a concern, at least there's a concern, and they know that this is the most valuable natural resource that we have in Ohio. So this is just an amazing photograph. I'm sure I have dreams about it. And thank you for
It's so personal.
thank you for everything you've
And
done.
I've learned so much about what's happening now on the lake. I just wanted to mention something about the waves or the height of the water. Clearly, all the water that has fallen in the Great Lakes region has made this year have a record high water level in the lake. And when you get a wind coming from the west, it can stir up waves that create a rise in the depth of the water. And so when the water hits Toledo, it could be as much as 10 feet or even more higher than it is on the western end of the lake. It's dramatic. And it's based on wind, pushing all that water. And I was very disturbed to hear the story of your brother.
Yes.
What happened
It's
to him.
amazing. They had a staircase that goes down. It's the Saybrook Beach Club that he's at, and they have this stairway that goes down. And last year, the water level had taken up to 6 steps. In other words, there was no beach anymore, and the 6 steps were gone. They somehow reconstructed the 6 steps so that they would lift up, and then they can put them down, but no beach, and it's happening. I think it's happening all the way along, and you just have millions of dollars in property at risk. I mean,
Well, Manor Headlands, which is a park,
yes,
has a much narrower beach now.
does it?
I saw it last year.
Yeah.
No, it's the other way around. Headlands Dunes was 14 acres when the state commissioned it. It's nearly 28 now. Nobody bought additional property, it's growing.
Right.
All that stuff that's eroding elsewhere is washing up at Headlands Dunes.
It's gonna end up
Because
somewhere.
it juts out into the
Well,
lake.
when I called the Office of Coastal Management, I was told that, I always thought that the Army Corps of Engineers regulated the level of the lake, but they do not.
No,
It's
they can't.
unregulated, and
They
the
can't.
Michigan River evidently sends a lot of additional water into the lake, is what I was told, and that is unregulated. So, no,
It's
yeah,
impossible to regulate the amount of water coming into that.
right.
There's nothing we can do about that. It's nature at work.
So,
Marina's home.
who's next? Sure. Can you turn around and talk to, or come up?
I'll just stand here. When we bought our first house in Minter, there was a Minter Beach Park. I don't know if anyone
Yes.
remembers it. And there was a big pavilion. And my sister used to come from Chester. That's how I got here. And we take our kids to the beach there. And it had to be several hundred feet out to get to the water. And maybe 20 or 25 years ago, I was out in a boat with my husband and our friends. The guys were fishing. There was no beach, just the building. I couldn't believe it. Where did 700 feet of beach go, in 20 years? But you said it's going east, right? That was sad. I was shocked because my kids had a lot of nice times there.
Yes, here comes my friends.
I'm always attracted to the quieter places. And these guys are clearly getting away from the honeymoon. And the steel fish, it's wonderful that the steelhead have come back. You can't eat very many of them because of the mercury, but at least you can go out and have a quiet time fishing.
Where is that?
This is, it's in Pennsylvania. If you're going on, basically the main road that's closest to the lake, there's about 10 miles into Pennsylvania, and it's a charming